I will tell you this, one of the interesting kind of facts about this, and I think one of the reasons that people have been speculating, and I would echo, we don't know what we don't know. However, on the body cam, there is a discussion about the SWAT shootout. As a defense lawyer, one of the things I'd want to know, the first things that I would have an investigator follow up on is, did they know each other? And can I show that they knew each other? Were they together on that evening?
Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies starts now.
Hello, Reporter Room investigators. Today we're going to be talking about Bryan Kohberger and one of the creepiest things in this case. Did Bryan Kohberger have an accomplice? Will the state of Idaho be going after capital punishment for Bryan Kohberger? And is there enough evidence to convict Bryan? Let's get started. You might remember that it was reported that when Bryan was initially arrested, that one of the questions that he wanted to know was, has anyone else been arrested too? Now, is Bryan some kind of a criminal mastermind and he planned this out in advance and knew that if he got arrested, he was going to ask that question so it could be brought up to defend him? Or did he really want to know if anyone else had been arrested? Was it a genuine question? What do you guys think? One of the creepiest things in this case is the information that the prosecution just released last week to the defense. And in this information, they don't rule out the fact that there could be a co-conspirator. Now, in my opinion, that would have been a really great opportunity for the prosecution to say there is no one else, it's Bryan, he acted alone. But they didn't do that. And it's making a lot of people wonder why. I've been reading your comments in the comment section, and you guys have a lot of questions about this. And one of the names that I've seen coming up repeatedly is the name of Kopaka. So I'm going to bring you the information. And as you know, Reporter Room is a Critical Thinkers channel. So if you are interested in hearing different theories and speculations, then you are in the right place, because everything I'm sharing with you is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. So please don't send any negativity to anyone, anytime, anywhere. Let's be kind and good to each other. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up so I know you are here. So the prosecution didn't rule out that there was a co-conspirator in the information that they released to the defense. So it's left a lot of people wondering if Bryan had help, because the time frame from when he started to when he finished is very, very tight, right? It's around 9 minutes, give or take. And that is a very short amount of time to go in and do what someone did to these 4 innocent young people. And I also want to just say that Bryan has not been convicted. He is due his day in court, and he is innocent until proven guilty. So let's talk about Brent Kopaka. Is there a connection between Bryan Kohberger and Brent Kopaka? Hear me out, and then let me know what you think on the other side. So Brent worked in IT, and my understanding was that he worked at the same university where Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie all went to school. And he lived just a couple of miles away from Bryan Kohberger, less than 3 miles away from where Bryan Kohberger lived in his Pullman apartment and where Brent Kopaka lived. The other thing that people are connecting is the traffic stop. Listen to Bryan's dad, because he brings this up in the traffic stop.
Where are you headed? Well, we're coming from WSU, and we're standing early. What's WSU? University, basically. That is SWAT team area. So we're, okay, I'm having a hard time hearing you because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University? Yeah. And almost to there. Okay. And what did you say about some SWAT team thing? Or there was a mass shooting and everything. Where?
What do you think? Is this just something that he's bringing it up because he's thinking about it, he's worried about it, he's concerned about it? Or is there something more here that we don't know? The other thing that people are linking is because there was a K-bar military knife sheath found at the 1122 King Road house. People are saying that maybe Brent helped Bryan in some way. Now, in my opinion, I don't see enough of a connection, and I feel like law enforcement has known about Brent Kopaka for a while now. And I think that if there was something, they would have brought it forward and linked the two already. And the fact that they haven't tells me that there may be somebody, a co-conspirator. There may have been somebody that knew something that they didn't want to know, or maybe they learned something after the fact, so they're leaving that door open for indictments. But I don't think it's linked to the Brent Kopaka case. But what do you guys think? Now, Idaho is a death penalty state. Do you think that there is enough in this case for Idaho to seek the death penalty? Do you think that charges are going to be brought? The last time that Idaho used capital punishment was back in 2012, so this isn't something that you see very often. In fact, there have only been 3 cases since 1976 that have gone forward this way, so I don't know if the prosecution will be seeking this or not. And I think whether or not Ann Taylor, who is the defense attorney who represented Xana's mom and is now representing Bryan Kohberger, I think that whether she stays on this case or not will depend a lot on whether the prosecution does seek the death penalty, because my understanding is in northern Idaho, where this case will be tried, supposedly, we don't know for sure yet, but where this case happened, she is the only defense attorney who is death penalty certified, because again, this is not something that Idaho does very often. So I think that if they don't bring charges for the death penalty, I think at that point we will see her probably recuse herself, if not sooner. And I do feel like I've seen people, really dragging Xana's mom, but I feel like the one thing that we can do for Xana and Maddie and Ethan and Kaylee is to stand by their parents and love their parents and be kind and compassionate. So there have been a lot of questions about the evidence that we've seen, and as I've shared with you, I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg in this case. But let's listen to what experts said on News Nation. Listen to this.
Looking through this, it was actually a News Nation viewer that brought up what he saw as 5 potential holes in the affidavit as he saw it. That viewer pointing out that Kohberger's DNA could have ended up there from someone shaking Bryan's hand and then touching the sheath shortly afterwards. Do you think that is a plausible theory, or how strong is the DNA evidence?
So that's a great question, and I've said that really from kind of the beginning of all of this, is that, to be honest with you, the DNA is nice to have. It puts him at the scene of the crime, but it doesn't put him at the scene of the crime potentially on that date and around that time. So yes, I think that this is a hole that can really be poked in the prosecution's argument.
We are just seeing the tip of the iceberg as far as evidence goes. I think there's a lot more information that we don't have yet. And I also think that although holes can be poked in individual pieces of evidence, I think the totality together will tell its story of what happened that night. Do they have enough evidence to convict Bryan? Subscribe